What does it do, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. I am your host. And once again, today we are talking Laker ball, the purple and gold. And in the last game, you saw it, the Lakers get their revenge against Sacramento after that ugly triple overtime loss. The Lakers come back in the get-back game and defeat the Kings. And finally, for the first time, get a blowout victory. But the big takeaway from yesterday's game was, once again, the King is exiled, absent, missing in action. LeBron James out yet again. This time, COVID-19 health and safety protocols. So it's just been one thing after the other for LBJ. If it's not the abdominal or the ankle sprain or the crouching dragon punching flying reverse blow, it's COVID-19 health and safety protocols. And so the Lakers now sit at 12-11. And LeBron James has missed more than half of the Lakers' games. He's missed 12 games now of the Lakers' 23. And in those games he's missed, the Lakers are 5-7. 5-7 without the King. 7-4 when he's there so far early on in the season. So we hope that LBJ is healthy, sending out the best vibrations, wishing for speedy recovery and getting him back safely, healthy out on the court. Word is from AD that he is asymptomatic and could be 10 days, several games, maybe 4 or 5 games that the King is missing. So we'll have to see how the Lakers do without him now. And as you know now, this is the most games missed by percentage of his team's games played in LeBron James' history. In fact, he's missed more games in his 4 years with the Lakers than he'd missed in his entire 14, 15-year career before that, combined. So you see it now. Age and mileage are going to inevitably take their toll. That's just the way it is. We wish the King well and speedy return. But the whole idea with Russell Westbrook and with AD and this collection assortment of aging all-stars is that if LeBron misses games, his team should be able to still hold its own. And that's essentially what we saw play out against the Kings last night. Now, Avery Bradley was also out. Apparently, he has a thumb sprain. So Frankie V was again forced to adjust his lineup. See, and the Frankie V thing, again now, it's rearing its ugly head. It seems to me that old Vogel throws lineups against the wall and hopes something sticks. See, and so the word was from yesterday's game that in his infinite coaching wisdom, old Frankie V informed Dwight Howard just before the game that he wasn't going to play him at all. Now, you're down Avery Bradley, you're down LeBron James, the team is at 500, and you tell Dwight Howard, who was a DNP just recently, who has been barely clocking any run, Frankie V saddles up to him and tells him, you're not playing tonight. Dwight, after the game, said when he told him that, he was quite disappointed. He wants some run. He wants to play. But, that's the coach said you're not playing. He wants to focus on DeAndre Jordan, the coach does. See, that makes me question Vogel's sanity right then and there. Really, you can't see Frankie V. After all this time, these amount of games in, that DeAndre Jordan is not the answer? Why is he in your starting lineup? Listen, I understand you need some backup bigs, big depth, okay? Fine. You got him on the team. Fine. Use him as big depth. He's got some fouls that he can give. He can spell people. Why is DeAndre Jordan in the starting lineup? And then Frankie V says, I'm going to keep him in the lineup, but maybe just to start the first and the third so that we get behind in the beginning of each half. This is why Vogel is on the hot seat, and deservedly so. So, during the Laker broadcast, I hear one of the announcers say that it looks like Vogel and DeAndre Jordan are having some sort of conversation. And it wasn't really sure what it was. But DeAndre Jordan pretty much didn't play the rest of the way after that early in the game. Fortunately for us, because it was Dwight Howard who saved the game for the Lakers. And Frankie V. So I don't know. Did DeAndre Jordan have some sort of did he tweak something? Was there some sort of a sprain? Was Vogel's hand forced? Or did the light bulb go off for Frankie V? And did he see suddenly, you know what? I've got Dwight Howard sitting there on the bench, healthy and eager and ready to play. Why do I have DeAndre Jordan mummying up and down the court? Whatever the case, Dwight Howard is inserted into the lineup and everything changed. So the Lakers go from 13 down in the third quarter, 14 down to be precise in the third quarter, on a essentially 40-point run, and end up blowing Sacramento out by 25. Spurred by defense, spurred by energy, spurred by Dwight Howard, not DJ. Dwight Howard had 13 rebounds, 5 offensive. He also chipped in 12 points, 5 of 7 from the field. Had a couple blocks, played with energy, vigor, led the charge back. Dwight Howard should be in the starting lineup. Frankie V, cut the DeAndre Jordan experiment. Now, stop it, cut it. Insert Dwight Howard in the starting lineup, since the rubber band man Robin is averse to running at the 5. You put Dwight Howard at the 5. You put AD at the 4. The king is out for a while. So you can play around with the rest of the lineup. You have Russ. Put him in the starting lineup. Put Monk in the starting lineup. Monk is the offensive contributor who turned the game around yesterday against the Kings. Had a great game. Put him in the starting lineup. You got Russ and Monk. You got AD and Dwight in the front court. And you can play around at the 3 if you want Ellington, THT. Who do you want to put there? Who's giving you some run? There's Avery Bradley. You've got some options. Even Rondo is an option. And that is the other thing, Frankie Vogel. We had a Rondo sighting. The skies opened up. The angels were singing. The epiphany, the light bulb has gone off, I hope, in Frank Vogel's head. Did you see Rondo out there? Did you? Getting people in the right places, the ball moving around, defense, just looking authoritative, looking sharp, high basketball IQ. You need that. Leadership. The team is lacking it, especially when you don't have LeBron for long stretches, as has been the case this season. What is Vogel thinking? See, it's the same thing, and I've been saying this. Go back and check the tape. I've been saying this. You saw how he mismanaged Montrez in the playoffs last year. Inexplicable DNPs. Weird stuff. The rotations. Vogel has had some putrid moments. I'll put it that way. He's looked inept at times. And I'll give credit where it's due. He supposedly barked at them and inspired them and led the way with some sort of halftime motivation about defense. And defense has been sorely lacking. So, okay. But Vogel, it starts with having the right personnel on the floor. You can yell and scream and throw clipboards and jump up and down all you want. If you don't have the right people out there to execute, how are you going to get the right result? You're starting third quarters with DeAndre Jordan and wondering why you're falling behind in third quarters. Monk has earned the playing time. Rondo deserves earned the playing time. Dwight Howard deserves earned the playing time. Let's go, Frankie V. And let me say this about Russ. Russ has been playing so much better of late. In the last, say, half dozen games, for example, as a smaller sample size, Russ is giving you 25, 8, and 8. Okay? Will that work? And here's the key. Cut his turnovers in half. 4, under 3.5 a game. You can live with that if you're the Lakers. If Russ is going to give you 25, 8, and 8 with 3.5 turnovers, you can live with that. His shooting percentage has improved because he's not taking the volume shots as he was. Thank you, Russ. Thank you. So Russ is playing much better, composed, under control. Dare I say smarter. And we need that. AD. Okay, I think that AD is who AD is, right? He's extremely talented. He's, nearly 7 feet with ball handling skills. He has the ability to shoot. He's gifted, but he doesn't have that motor, that desire, the will, whatever you want to call it, to be a legend, to be great. And I mean exceptional. He's Rubber Band Man Robin. And again, and I've said this in previous videos, there's nothing wrong with being a Robin. That's far higher status. That's a loftier attainment than most guys will ever reach. To be a Robin in the NBA, you did something there. But the people who are looking for AD to be the man, the heir apparent, the leader, the alpha who's going to take the Lakers to greatness, he's not that guy. Just not that guy. It's like Russ is who he is because of that will and drive to be great. Even if he doesn't necessarily have the raw gifts, skills, basketball-wise. But that drive, that incessant will, that just, I'm going to be great, that's Russ. AD's not that. AD's like, naturally, I'm smooth, I can do this, it comes naturally to me, but hey, I wonder if anybody else is going to lead the way here, and I'll come along. Holy Willikers, Batman my thumb. I digress. Melo had a nice bounce back game from 3. I'm always glad to see Melo in the game, putting it up, stretching the floor. It's great. Vogel, definitely the heat needs to be turned up under his seat without question. Just think about the preseason. He didn't play the big 3 together once during the preseason. And people were like, why aren't you trying to get the timing and the chemistry together? Yeah. And it's still no chemistry. It still looks like he reaches in a hat and pulls out names and throws them up there on the starting lineup board. Stop the DeAndre Jordan experiment. Cut it out. Start Dwight. Match him with AD in the front court. You got Russ as, the other guy. And then you pair that up with Monk. You pair that up with one of those other 3s. And that's who you run with till Bron comes back. And the rest of the guys, you mix and match them from the bench. Vogel? Quit acting fogey, Vogel. So as you know, we're going to keep monitoring the goings on with the Lakers at Staples, the Palace, the cryptocurrency.com building, whatever the hell they're going to call it. Next up, the Clips. And then pretty soon thereafter, a rematch against the hated Boston Celtics. So, you're definitely going to keep an eye out because the Lakers soap opera is intriguing, isn't it? I think so. Scotty says, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Throw me one of these. And until next time, my folks, one love.